Hi everyone. BP Collins is talking to Adrian Moorhouse today, who most of you know was a gold medal winner at the 1988 Olympics in Seoul. But since then, he is the co-founder and MD of Lane 4, a management consultancy business. And from that time, he's been voted the best leader by the Sunday Times Best Small Companies to Work For, and has been listed as one of the most influential thinkers by HR magazine. So thank you so much, Adrian, for joining us today.
Great pleasure.
Today we're going to be talking about the inevitable recession which is heading our way. Reports in May have shown that the UK economic output fell by 25%, which have led many experts to believe that the UK is heading towards the worst recession this country has faced in the past century. So, Adrian, it would be good to talk today about any advice that you can give to businesses to help weather the storm ahead, and also if you could glean any lessons from the last recession in 2008 and how they can be applied to the present day. So before we do, it would be good if you could set the scene and just outline how your business was doing, what your plans were before the big recession hit in 2008.
Oh, the 2008 recession, yeah. So we were doing quite well. We'd opened offices in Melbourne and in New York. So we had a London office and we had Melbourne. So we'd gone 8 people in those 2 places. We were about to go to Singapore as well, go up to the Far East. So we kind of built the international business up. So we'd stretched ourselves. Got some Brits had gone abroad and to work in those offices, but we also hired locals. So things were going really well. But we got early signs of it, and I think that we kind of, like a lot of people, it wasn't like this one. It felt different, as it were, and so things started to happen with the financial situation.
Okay.
And I think that, so we knew pretty quickly, because we hadn't established a brand in those countries. We were basically operating a lot of international work we'd won out of the UK and Europe. And so building the sort of reputation hadn't happened yet.
Okay.
We were doing it by work, so good work, and organically growing rather than building the brand. Yeah. And so when the recession came, I think people went to, this is one of the lessons, like what I know was they went to trusted people, trusted brands, people they knew, established things. And so as a newbie in town, we lost our work. So in a short space of time, our costs outstripped our revenue by a long way. But in the UK we were okay, and we acted very quickly. Actually, we closed the offices in international offices very quickly, because we knew that
all the international offices, but then kept the UK that was still intact then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so the UK was just about, it was okay. Because I guess we were benefiting from the opposite, which was we were quite trusted and well known in the UK, so we were still getting work, and we realised that a lot of the money, just the borderline profit we were making, was going to fund these international offices loss making, and the question was, how long are we prepared for that to happen? And so we just decided that it wasn't going to be something we wanted to do. We could do it differently as well. So we did 2 big different things.
Did you have to, obviously you had to change your focus and maybe focus more on the UK, but did you have to change the focus of your business and what you offered during the recession?
Yeah, because I think it's true of any climate, but it's even more heightened now, is that you have to offer something the market wants.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop.
Full stop, yeah.
You know what I mean? So the market might be in recession, but what that means is people are spending less. It doesn't mean people are spending nothing. I reminded my guys that, the recession it's a great word, recession, and it's not a very nice one. But what it means is trillions of pounds and dollars being spent. There's just a bit less than last time, sort of thing. So what I go is, well, okay, they're spending that money on something. What they're spending on, and if we've not got anything they want to buy, then we stop doing that. We do the stuff that they want to buy. So the big question for us was to look at the services we were offering, or the products, and make sure they're fit for purpose. And so we adapted it slightly, and actually we started to offer, that's the first time we decided, because we did a lot of senior development work with boards and top teams, top 100 in the company.
Yeah.
And it was one of our clients actually suggested, so look, we're in retail, can you go deliver this for store managers? But we love your stuff, but we're not going to pay the same price point, but we want our store managers to get what you give us. Okay. And so we created a whole different training business. That's when our Lane 4 training business started. So the product shifted because the client demand and a different price point. And we sort of basically, it was an adjacency really. And that was a big that saved us. And also we had a big research part of Lane 4, so we were quite, because we had a psychology background of the company, we put a lot of people in product development and research, and we had about 6 or 7 people, and we thought, you know, we can't hold on to the salaries. But then when we started the training business, of course, some of these bright young things in the product and research team were brilliant, because they were first time quite various and quite out there and wanted to be consultants anyway. So we put them in the training business. So effectively, we reduced our salary bill, I think, by about 300,000 or 400,000 in research and product.
Oh, wow!
And we put them into training, development, and consult. So it was a £1 million flip. So the revenue of £500,000 from the work they were doing, and according to that, against that. So that kind of saved us in lots of ways. So new products and being prepared to get people doing different things was quite important. We did let some people go though.
But for the most part, you were able to retain your staff then. Yeah,
I mean, the international. I mean, we brought the Brits back, so they also, actually 1 or 2 stayed and naturalised, and then stay working in the countries. And then other people became freelance. Some of our consultants in those countries became freelance, and a couple of the Brits came home and started working for the head office again. So we lost. What did we lose? We probably lost about 5 people last recession.
Which isn't too bad in the whole scheme of things.
Well, comparatively, yeah. No, but our revenue went flat. Our revenue was down quite a lot, and our profit was flat. So 0. We didn't make any money, and the revenue went down about 20%.
But ultimately, your business was able to survive quite a very tough time. And did BP Collins help in any of those changes that you had to make in the business at that time?
Well, yeah, because I mean, we, as a full service firm, employment was quite a biggie for us. Corporate law, the guys in corporate teams and employment teams helped a lot. But also because I knew David Stanning, the senior partner at the time, he'd been with us since we started the company. So being as a sounding board was quite helpful, just because he was co-com team, the corporate team, was helpful just to work with him on thinking, because it wasn't just a transactional relationship we had. It was more around just, wisdom and experience of working with organizations. So that was quite helpful. But then we also, quite soon after that, bought out one of the founders. So one of the chaps I started the business with, we decided that was a moment for him to, and so we used the firm quite a lot in that.
Wow. And if you could give a brief summary in terms of what lessons that you learned from the last recession that you could apply to this one, what would they be?
This is off the top of my head, but they've stayed with me for quite a while. Act quickly. You act quickly. Don't prevaricate. You also need to, again, back to what I said before, you need to really, really check your product and service. Is it what the marketplace wants right now? And are they prepared to pay for it at the price point you had before? Customer service also is a massive thing. So keep the customer service high. So customer loyalty, customer caring about you caring about your customers is massive. So there's some big things. Treat people kindly, with respect. And then the other thing is, I think, well, you do need to know your financial nuts and bolts. You need to know what you're doing with the money. And so I think that having good financial advisors or a bank or people who can help you structure things differently or look at your P&L, your cash position and work it differently. So for me, great financial advice is important as well. But also, you need to know your mechanics.
Of course. Did the recession show up any weaknesses in your business that you were able to deal with?
Weaknesses in business. Yeah, when you start a company, you kind of make it all up. You just make it up, and and then you just build it, and then you work out where you're strong. And no, I think those points, when things are going well, you kind of cover over, and it masks a lot of things. I think in recession, what we realised was that we'd grown. Obviously, because we're self-start, and so I can't remember, we were 100 people or maybe 80. That some of the processes and the systems we put in place were bolt-ons. We did something and we bolted something next to it, and so almost like we went from A to B to get somewhere, whereas actually you could just go A to F without doing the rest of it. So we did a bit of re-engineering on the way we were doing things as well, because I think when you grow, you don't look at those bureaucratic things that you put in place as you are growing, and they make sense at the time, but when you tighten up, you've really got to look at just everything as well. So
which
that was
recession
something
forces you to do.
It does, because if you've got particularly if you've got less people or less revenue coming in, you've got to do things smarter.
So after the last recession, then obviously your business grew, and it's very successful today. How did you? What did you expand? How did BB Collins help in your expansion?
So I mean, we've done the CoCom teams. I mean, effectively, we've done quite a bit on share ownership and involving other people, because we've got it's a limited organisation, and we've helped people leave and people come in and add people to EMI schemes. So I've wanted people to feel part of the company, to own part of the company. It's a broadly owned company, but it's still a limited company. So a lot of support in that. I've always been the fan of having a sit down with other advisors as well, and understand the story of the firm. And it's like when I was an athlete in my old days as a swimmer, I was a swimmer, but I had a nutritionist, psychologist, strength coach, physiologist, and all these people. And they could do their thing in isolation as a specialist, but actually it wasn't very helpful unless they understood what the other people were doing as well. And also I benefited from the conversations about the whole project. Yeah. And so same sort of thing, really. I get the lawyers with the finance guys, with the HR guys, the IT guys, and then tell them the story of where Lane4's going. So for me, the best way of them, and they involve you. So it's more of a proactive thinking ahead strategic team, rather than they're just going to help me do this transaction tomorrow when I need them. Because you're always going to get, if you're not careful, by default, you just be a supply demand. And there's no emotion in that. There's no connections, no future innovation. And so
partnership and relationship is key then. It's very much a team effort. Then you actually move forwards together then. Absolutely. Know your business inside out as a result of that. So
and then there'll be times when you turn the volume down, there's not much to do, and there's times when you turn it up. But if they're involved in the journey, then you get advice rather than just, as I say, just a transactional moment, which can be a bit blunt and a bit rational.
That's good to hear. Lane4 specialises in, I've got to hear, people change and transformation, leadership, team and talent development, and management skills training. How can these skills be applied in a business to help survive this next recession?
Oh, it's interesting. A massive thing for us at the moment is how do you engage your employees or re-engage your employees, and the connection between your customers as well. So retail is a big sector of ours. And so as people come off furlough, maybe people were in furlough.
This month it seems is going to be a massive wave of people coming back.
Absolutely, coming back, and who've, through no fault of their own, have been a bit distant or disenfranchised or not connected to what the company's doing. When you're bringing people back, and what I've noticed is that people are training them in health and safety. So you recommend some health and safety training, right? Yeah, so give you those skills to make sure that you put your mask on and keep people at distance. But that's not an emotional connection back to the firm. So, and then there's a whole bunch of people who've not been furloughed, who are still in the firm, who are knackered, frankly. Because of people coming together who you want to re-engage, and we've got to be really careful about how you do that. So we're doing a lot of work with organisations, top teams, top groups of people, and then through managers, store managers. How do you engage? Because people are having to do different jobs, more work, being restructured, because lots of companies are not weathering this well and won't. So how do we help them with their restructure and make sure that as teams reform, they fit for purpose? The other thing that's quite interesting, we've been doing some work with, going back to the employee engagement, the connection between employee engagement and customer engagement. I said it in one of my LinkedIn posts, actually. I think right now, the link between the customer and the employee is closer than ever was, because we always call experience. So you always were an employee and a customer somewhere, and if you're a customer, you're going to go into an employee. So we're all in something together. So this customer service and employee experience, there's a massive connection with them at the moment that I think could be really done really well or done really badly if we're not careful. So that's kind of a lot of our work, and we've about 3 years ago we started a digital strategy anyway. So a lot of our stuff is online. So we've got packaging. So we've gone very fast, quickly.
Fortuitous you did that 3 years ago. It's obviously key now during the pandemic.
Yeah, no, it's helped us survive, but also we're getting a lot of work with digital skills, helping people manage digitally and virtually. So, and our suite of products is large, so we've been pushing that and helping clients use that effectively.
And it's primarily the retail sector you're working with at the moment, or is it the whole range?
The retail sector or the B2C sector is an interesting one, because that's where you're re-engaging employees to re-engage customers, because there's customer fear and nervousness, and there's an employee fear and nervousness. So that is any B2C sector: leisure, pub industry, retail. So we're doing a lot of work in that. But no, other companies, FMCG, banks, organizations we're working with, because ultimately these are human issues, or human at work issues.
Okay. How do you think the recession will pan out? You've got a crystal ball, and have you got any predictions for what's going to happen over the next few months, possibly years?
No.
Anyone?
No, it's so hard. I'm not sure if I like this phrase "new normal," but
yes,
I don't think I like it. But there is something about adapting and knowing that you can't hold on to stuff, but there's some stuff you need to hold on to, because some stuff that makes an organization great or made what you do great. But I do think that you have to re-engineer, rework your organization and be okay with that, and go, well, it might look different. You might have planned or hoped it was going to do something, and you felt like you were in control of it to some degree, whereas that's just been shaken, totally shaken. And so what everyone's realizing is they weren't in control of some of this stuff. And so, but bringing some form of safety and security is important to people, but knowing it might not be in the same vision that you had. So you might need to let go of some things, which could be psychologically a bit painful. You might like some of the stuff you did or wanted to do, but you might not be able to do that. You might actually have to, for a period of time, more for change or adapt. Okay, letting go of some stuff, but looking for something new that might be an adjacent piece of business or something different.
And is that something that Lane 4 is doing? Like, how are you preparing for this?
Oh, totally. I mean, we're not immune. I mean, we've had a hardish time with this, because quite a bit of the work we do is face to face, right? So when we get teams together, particularly some of that work or training development work. So we've been here. We furloughed over 100 people. I mean, we're bringing people back in. We're letting some people go. We've gone early on that, because we know we can't. It's not going to come back as quick as it. I don't think it's going to come back quickly, and so therefore we've got to re-engineer our business for the size we think we're going to be now as we rebuild it. Now, yeah, if our digital product goes well and we create a subscription model, then that business could be bigger than the business we had. So I don't know what the recession will mean to me. So it means that we've had to change the organization, and it's accelerated something we thought is what are people buying in recession? Because people buy stuff, services and products. It doesn't. I reiterate: a recession does not mean people not spending anything. It means they're spending a bit less than they did before. But that less is still trillions on something,
which is not to be sniffed at.
No. So the question is, well, have I got something they want? It's the fundamental question of business.
Yeah, and the recession forces you to think that way sometimes, so you become less bloated and really.
Totally. And if it is irrelevant, then you have to let go of it, and you have to do something differently. Unfortunately, that might be hard.
Has BB Collins helped with this transition to face this new recession? You've mentioned about employment, for example. Has CoCom helped in any way?
Yeah, we're not ready at the moment. As we start to build, what I want to do is some of the people that are coming through for the future, we'll start to build more ownership programs in for them. So that'll be helpful. Employment for sure. Contracting, interesting, because we're doing a lot of public sector work, so we're getting a lot of contracting work. Looking at the contracts that we've got. So they're the main two teams, but then also some of our people need private client help as well. So
yeah, of course,
as a separate thing, because we're an owner-managed business. So
obviously, BB Collins being a cross-practice firm, a lot of people can use each team for their for several needs, which is good. So it's a one-stop shop, which is useful. Adrian, thank you so much for your time. That was really insightful. A lot of businesses will glean a lot of good advice to help them move forward in the bumpy road ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to add, any businesses watching, they can contact the corporate and commercial team on commercial@bpcollins.co.uk, or they can call 01753 88 999 if they need some business advice. And Adrian, perhaps you want to mention how people can get in touch with Lane 4.
I mean, yeah, through lane4performance.com. When you just go through the website to inquiries, or just email any of us at Lane4, you'll get through. First name dot second name @lane4.co.uk. If you know anybody at Lane4, that's the way it always is.
It's consistent. And thanks again, Adrian, for your time. We really appreciate it. And have a good day. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Bye.